Testing, 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 testing. Okay, now it works. Welcome to my channel. My name is Emmy from Emmy Evolving. If this is your first time joining me, thank you for finding me. If this is not your first time, thank you for coming back. I asked what our conversation was going to be about, and y'all, very interesting. Very, very interesting. I heard stand your ground. I'm going to share a video of something in a little bit, but there's a lot going on. Energy wise, there's a lot going on. There's a lot being attempted. It's a very covert type attempt. I'm going to break things down for y'all. I might just break things, period. I'm just saying. Sick of this. Are y'all sick of this yet? Because I'm sick of this. Are y'all sick of this? I'm kind of sick of being poisoned by the air. I'm sick of having to wear a mask everywhere I go or risk dying from coughing spasms. I'm tired of it. But I did come across some very interesting developments. And I think we need to start standing our ground energetically, emotionally, intellectually, really just holding a specific level of resonance that will create a pathway of change. We need to intentionally cause some type of divergence in the path that's being, the collective is being shoehorned into. We need to start getting really rebellious with our energy. I'm saying, don't make me start slamming stuff. let me just, all my hooting and hollering just made my entire scalp go really sensitive. So let me just, take off my beret. And my senses are now extremely overloaded. Let me put my hat on. Oh, just beanies are such a lifesaver. It feels like angels are hugging my head. I'm so serious. That's what it feels like to me. It feels like angels are just hugging my head, telling me, shh, it's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay. Just breathe, little one. Breathe. So that's oftentimes why I put a beanie on my head. Okay, we need to make this fast, though, because I got a limited time today. I have limited time every day. It's just crazy. It's been super crazy with the schedule. That's fine. That's fine. A lot of the craziness in the schedule has to do with taking care of my family. So I don't mind that at all. At all, at all. One of my most favorite things to do in life is to just kind of take care of my family. I love it. I'm an amazing domestic caregiver. It's true. Very true story. Like, domestic circumstance is just my most favorite type of circumstance. You know what I mean? Like cooking, cleaning, organizing. Telling you. Ooh, I just saw these don't get me started. I think soul needed me to kind of enter into a space of calm right before I went live. So I saw these organizers that they're clear. It's kind of like made of plexiglass, and they stack your shoes in a certain way, kind of staggered on top of each other. So it really is just amazing. It's amazing. I loved it. Okay. Ooh, time to stand your ground is the message. These cards are not joking. Ooh, y'all. We need to get rebellious with our energy. That's that. We need, yep. Ooh, shit. We need to seriously become very intentional with the way our energy is going to be used, with how much we're allowing to be harvested from us in a very ambient kind of way. Why do I hear the word ambient? I know the definition, but relating to the immediate surroundings of something, relating to ambient music, and encompassing atmosphere. Okay. Music intended to serve as an unobtrusive accompaniment to other activities, as in a public place. That, hold on, define music. Vocal or instrumental sounds combined in such a way as to produce beauty of form, harmony, and expression of emotion. The written or printed signs representing vocal or instrumental sound. A sound perceived. Okay. An art of sound in time that expresses ideas and emotions in significant forms through the elements of rhythm, melody, harmony, and color. The tones or sounds employed. The art of sound in time that expresses ideas and emotions in significant forms. And then ambient music intended to serve as an unobtrusive accompaniment to other activities, as in a public place. There is ambient music, sounds in time that express ideas and emotions in significant forms. So to me, that's confirmation of a very intense message. This message that there are sounds that are being used, maybe imperceptible to the neurotypical and even neurodivergent ear, that is used to express ideas and emotions in significant forms. That's telling me that, just from hearing the word ambient, that's telling me that what's happening here is a program. I've been telling you guys that frequency is being emitted from specific sources on a regular basis in order to program specific things that have been inhaled, things we've been exposed to and now are inside the physicality. They're not going to shut down TikTok. That's a game. I promise you. They're not going to shut down TikTok. They're fucking with all of you. They're not going to shut TikTok down. They're not. What that was to try and force you onto platforms that have already been established that they could better control you with. Unfortunately, people got rebellious and they went over to the red space. Which fucking cracks me up. It cracks me up. It's like this thing of really being rebellious in the most peaceful way. Is that a violent act? To choose to go to another platform that is strictly in pure intentional rebellion to what is being forced upon you. Yeah. So yeah. What about the trumpets some people claim to have heard? I actually heard those trumpet sounds. It's in the upper atmosphere. Back in 2006, I heard them myself before the internet was abuzz about it. I found out what it was years later. That's the hyperexcitation of the upper atmosphere, the stratosphere, and then the reverberation of the hyperexcitation of particles in the upper stratosphere. It obviously has to filter back down, and it reverberates in such a way that for some who have a level of sensitivity, and if it's intense enough, it will sound like a trumpet. That shit is really like disconcerting because you don't just hear it, you feel it reverberate inside your organs. Like I could feel it in my bone marrow. I believe much of that has to do with directed energy wee wee. Wee wee punry. Because they're going to flag this video if I say the word properly. Wee wee punry. So figure out what that means. It's a directed energy something. It's a directed energy W, right? So I believe the people who began sharing prophetic information, they were having some precognitive hits. That's what I consider a precognitive hit. They didn't know enough about technology during that time to be able to say that it's a DE double wheezy. Okay. For shizzle my nizzle. It's a DE double wheezy. Okay. So, of course, they're going to relate it to what they are familiar with during their time. And what are they familiar with? Well, something that causes that degree of resonance that you could feel within your body. If you're close enough to a trumpet, that's that. That's that. They were speaking specifically about DE double wheezies. Michael, Michael said I turned this into a hip hop conversation. Hey, I'm from the Bay. Okay, DE double wheezy. Okay. So when they're talking about the trumpets will sound, they're talking about DE double wheezies being used to modify environments, modify, you know, double wheezy weather, right? But they didn't know that. They didn't know that. The famine that they speak about, look into the airspeed that is happening in California, Southern California area. Check and see if people in Southern California, south of where those events happened, are they experiencing the smoke or are their skies clear? Because if their skies are clear, and from what I'm getting from various sources, the wind speeds that are being clocked are like 165 miles per hour or something like that. I was like, what the hell? Which direction is it blowing? Because guess what? They're going to need extremely high velocity air movement to get up over the mountain of the grapevine. You pass that grapevine, you are in the Central Valley where tons of food is grown. From just north of the grapevine, that's almost to LA, all the way to almost the Oregon state line. There is a Central Valley, San Joaquin Valley. I used to live there. That's where they grow most of the food that they go ahead and ship to other states. Think about it. Think about it. If none of that smoke is going south, where is it being pushed to? Ooh, hot diggity damn. Relax, laptop. Did y'all hear that sound? It's like ding. Okay. Okay. So if you're not following what I'm saying, what does it matter where that smoke is pushed to? Because of all the toxins that were burned, there are a lot of chemicals that are involved in the construction of homes, old homes, new homes, whatever homes. And some of those toxins are dioxins. You need to do your own reading on the synergistic toxicity effect of dioxin and nanites. Big shit's about to happen. I can't say on here, but they know you know. They know you know. Let me just start with the cards and I'll tell you about what they know that you know, that it's already confirmed in the cards. Let me just go ahead and start. So respect. There's a lack of respect for our sovereign right, our basic human right to exist in safety, in health, in safety. There's absolutely no respect for that at this point. You can tell me whatever you want, whatever Delulu stuff you want to tell me about your personal beliefs as to how, we can do all of these things, and we just got to eat right and this and that. Yes, you do have to eat right. That's true. Yes, you should work out. Yes, just some basic things to make sure that you're doing your part for your health. But there's no respect for your efforts to remain healthy. The entire food supply is already tainted. It's been tainted. They've been testing these things out. You might be able to find all sorts of different articles and hypotheses by forward thinkers from the early 2000s. I've been following this since the early 2000s. This is not anything new. It's just now being applied in a very broad spectrum manner. It doesn't matter what state you're in. Because some people will be like, I mean, what state are you in? It don't matter, babe. It's happening across all states. It's happening across all states. So there's this lack of respect for our desire to maintain some degree of autonomy, of health. Ooh, lack of respect for your desire to remain autonomous. There are clampdowns that will be happening, I don't know when. There will be a lot of social engineering that will be forced out there. Why do you think they're not going to get rid of TikTok? That's their most favorite platform to disseminate controlled opposition. I mean, yeah, I might be paranoid, but I think in a very tactical manner. Whenever something or someone is maneuvering, I'm paying attention. I'm looking at the patterns, and the patterns are telling me this is Hegelian dialectic of the highest degree. That's what those patterns are telling me. You need to make sure you incubate yourself. That doesn't mean stay at home. That means allow as little entry into your vessel as possible. As little entry as possible, whether it's psychological programs, emotional manipulation type programs, whether it's inhaled things, ingested things. You have to begin thinking for yourself. You have to stand your ground. Your stance has to count for something for your personal existence. It has to. If you choose not to, then of course that's your choice. And I cannot force you, and I will not try and talk you out of your decision. You have a sovereign right to choose. But just know, whatever you choose is what you live through. Whatever you choose is what you will live through. Okay? They're going for the foundation of things. What does it mean, foundation? They're going down to the core. So the best way to control the people down to the core is to initiate fear. You can initiate fear through certain um, organized events that are organized in such a way that the general public has no idea of these events to come. Oh, there was a video. I didn't download it. I didn't. I didn't download it because, you know, sugar girl sick of this shit. Seriously, honestly, very much so. What is going on with my Wi-Fi? Okay. That's interesting. Show the networks. That's very interesting. So I have several different Wi-Fi accounts running through my home. One specifically is dedicated to my work. Anything relating to my work stuff, it runs through that router alone. That's it. And we have several others because my kids love to game. Tell me why no networks are showing for my Wi-Fi. Fascinating. Very fascinating. It will not connect to Wi-Fi. Whatever. Anyways, and I fully expect this video to be hidden on YouTube. You will have to look for it specifically in order to find the replay on YouTube. Okay. So cleansing. Now is a time where creation is allowing for a cleansing to begin. People have a right to choose whether or not they will be part of this process. What do I mean by that? We're transitioning into a higher degree of dimensional consciousness. That's going to directly affect your human existence, your human experiences. If you choose to allow yourself to be fully present and see things as they are, not participate in the program of illusion and delusion, and this is being spread through all aspects of your life, okay? If you choose not to participate in that, but instead be fully present to be able to see everything that's happening as it is, then you will in fact be cleansed of that old program. You will no longer participate in that program. This is part of the new earth. There's no new planet coming. It's about shifting the way we think and exist and coexist with each other. People also have a right to choose to cling to the old program. Those who choose to cling to the old program, it's not about they are less loved by creation. It's that we are so deeply loved that we get to choose which one we want. Those who cling to the old program, you will struggle greatly with what you are about to witness happening through this entire year. Oh, and it's starting soon. It's starting very, very soon. You'll be pulled into all sorts of public displays of conflict and your presence there. Your presence will not mean you are giving a voice to groups that need protection, that need their needs to be considered by the greater whole. No. Those forms of public displays of rebellion, it's intended to further phase lock you. Don't participate in those events. I've said it before. Don't participate in those events. Those events will be calibrated not just to not just to see who's willing to rise up against the establishment, because really they want the people who have the courage to rise up against them. They want those people identified. We've seen this already. We've seen this. And it will not remain peaceful because, as we've seen in the past, just even a few years ago, agent provocateurs will be bussed into the area and they have zero intention of remaining peaceful in their protest. Do not participate in any of that. Your rebellion must be energetic in nature. What you will allow, what you will not allow. What will you allow to siphon energy from you? What will you not allow to be forced, pressure injected into your auric field? I'm suddenly receiving a message of, for those of you who like to participate in those types of politically charged events. I have nothing against that, but just be aware. DE double Wheezies. That cracks me up. DE double Wheezies can be used to broadcast frequencies that will disrupt or initiate specific functions. There are certain frequencies that can be broadcast. And if you're within that field of broadcast, it can cause hyperexcitation of peristalsis. They can make you poop yourself. Not even joking. They already did this at multiple events over the last couple of years. Yeah. They can make you poop yourself. They can vibrate specific organs to a degree that it's intolerable. They can use it in a way where the frequencies being emitted are microwaves. You're going to cook your insides if you remain there. But there's another application to it. This they've been testing for quite a few years now, but they're only now going to begin rolling this out. It's a type of frequency that's imperceptible to the human ear. But once your auric field is exposed to it, it initiates a process. It would be the equivalent of anti-ascension. It locks your auric field. It effectively halts your ascension mechanics. It's called phase locking. They figured out the actual in real life application, how to do it in real life. Do with that information whatever you want. I could be full of shit or I could be telling the truth. It's up to you. It's up to you. There's a homecoming that's happening, right? This homecoming that's happening is you are needing to come into your full power, knowing that you have the authority to either allow this to affect you, put yourself in environments where you will be exposed to these are atrocities. These are not violations of human rights. These are violations of celestial beings. It's a full-scale motherfucking war across the entire spectrum. Y'all think spiritual warfare has to do with aliens coming here? No. Aliens are not involved. The aliens that you will be witnessing are either holographic in nature. They've already begun the program to set the stage for this. Or they're actually intraterrestrials. They live in subterranean cities and are native to Earth. Reptilians have been here before we were created. Yeah. There's quite a few species that have been here before we were ever created. You think Sasquatch is a mythical figure? That's a native species. There's a lot of stuff. They're not going to get involved. They're not. This is a war between two apex predators. We're caught in the middle. We are the pirate's booty. Which two? The monkey, which is a superior apex predator. And then, of course, the Anunnaki. I'm being told that's enough information about that. Y'all just have to be aware. There's a lot of misguidance that's happening. Part of the misguidance that's being brought forward, all of that information regarding a lot of the spirituality that is being spread through the internet. A lot of those spiritual practices are actually intended to further your phase locking. Creation is allowing for you to undo it. And a lot of what's happening, including the tainting of our food supply, it has to do with seeking out the divergence, the neurodivergence and the quantum divergence. It's to ensure they get phase locked, to slow down their ascension mechanics, because once they reach a certain level, they are unfucking controllable. Uncontrollable. There are ways that these types of individuals, once they reach a certain level, there are ways they can instantly recalibrate their auric shields to repel the DE double wheezies. It won't affect them. Why? They have the dominant consciousness. The laws of reciprocal reflection forces that lesser consciousness, that density, to reverberate at the same level of resonance as the dominant consciousness. A lot of spiritual communities talk about high vibration. That is the standard, right? The laws of oscillation dictate there is an inverse relationship between frequency and vibration. Vibration is the internally held energy. It causes your particles to become densified. You become magnetic in nature. When your frequency is lowered, your vibration increases. You become much more dense. It's a type of phase locking. When your frequency is high, because of the inverted relationship between frequency and vibration, frequency is externally held energy. Your particles expand. Your consciousness is allowed to expand. You become electric in nature. And you can pierce through DEWs. You have to know how to do that. Why do you think all my channels across all social media is shadow banned? They know I'm gearing up to start giving some real information. Just on TikTok, I could have 200 or 300 new subs per day. For every 100 subs, they will not only remove that 100, they'll dock me a couple more. Mhm. Quite a few of my videos have hundreds of thousands of views, and all of a sudden that reach is cut. Why? Because I spoke about something that triggered the AI. I spoke about a predatory species. I didn't even use their name. They know, and they know that I know. You want the That's because higher than the limitations that have been set. You are ready to ascend, to transcend that phase locking. What's happening right now is not a secret. Hold on, I have to go ahead and just email this to me. How do I do that? Okay, let me just. This is just so inefficient. Ugh, they won't allow me to email it to me. What if I connect my phone to my laptop? Will that allow me to transfer it? You fucking bastards. You fucking bastards. Why are you forcing? Oh, I know. I'll send it via. I will. Okay. She's going to be like, why are you sending me this video? Don't worry, girl. Just don't worry about it. Okay. Actually, let me send it this way. I have to send it via Facebook. And then I will be able to go ahead and put it on the screen because you guys need to see this. This is about the secret. There's a big secret. Unfortunately for them, my flavor of autism is extremely refined detail harvesting. Okay, let me go ahead and open a Facebook window. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. I'm loving it. Okay, 12:35. Oh, I'm running out of time. Gotta hurry up, girl. Okay, let me go ahead. Let me download this. Here. It's downloaded. All right. Here goes. Let me close this. All right. So, oh, hold up. Hold the phone. Hold your phone. Here goes. Okay. So, it's not uncommon for the last 2 months to see the sky having a checkerboard pattern, right? This checkerboard pattern in the sky. You see line after line after line. That's just not normal. That's not natural. That's not normal. It's not the flight path of airplanes. Kindly just stop. Just stop, okay? They're noticing that people are noticing that whenever the sky looks like a checkerboard, everyone gets sick. Respiratory symptoms, sinus symptoms. So, what did they do? They put into play something else. Look at this. How come the trail never goes longer than that? And then there's another one right down there, and another one right up there. Just in the time that I drove through this area, this is an area that I just drove through. There were about 8 of them forming a perimeter around that entire area. And again, if you see, it never exceeds this length. What used to be lines across the sky are now hidden. You're telling me that's a flight path? That it's a contrail? Why are there 8 planes flying in a circle around the area that I was in? Is there some type of issue? I'm not even near an airport. Why are they flying in circles? Literally 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, like an octagon. The secret's out. People are noticing. People are absolutely noticing what's happening. They're starting to understand that their health is being heavily affected. They're piecing the dots. They're connecting all of the dots. And so they're needing to be a little bit more covert in what they're trying to do. What is it that they're trying to do? I don't know. All of it's speculation. Speculation. What are they trying to do? All I can talk about are the patterns that I'm recognizing. Can I prove any of this? No. No, I can't. I cannot. I'm not interested in trying to prove it, to be honest. I'm just interested in pointing out patterns that I'm recognizing. And then maybe one of you will be inspired. How would we prove it? Well, if you have snow in your area, you can begin gathering snow after you see things like that. You, after a few hours, gather the snow and have it tested. I'm not going to spend time doing that. I'm not interested. Gather it and have it tested. See what type of particulates are in there. As the weather starts to warm up, they do this in 6-month increments. They're probably going to increase the frequency to every 3 months, heavily, right? So as of right now, the pattern's every 6 months. They began this 6 months, every 6 months pattern about 18 months ago. How do I know? Because my family never gets sick, except now we're getting sick every 6 months. Same symptoms every time. Same symptoms every time. And not everyone is being affected. So this is telling me that whatever this cocktail that we are inhaling, it's my conspiracy theory that it's calibrated to be the most unhealthy. I'm being told to be careful of my word selection. Be the most unhealthy experience for those who are the most neurodivergent. Many neurodivergents I almost want to say all, to be honest. Most neurodivergents have MTHFR multigene mutation that causes us to struggle to detoxify our body. Another interesting thing, the CIA Gateway program that they were running, they correlated MTHFR multigene mutation with people who have a higher likelihood of having intact higher sensory perception. These are people who have abilities that regular humans do not have. For me, my conspiracy brain, my little conspiracy brain, automatically assumes, theorizes that, oh, this is to make the gifted ones sick. Why? Because when you're sick, your ascension mechanics are halted. That includes systemic inflammation. When you are sick, spiritual processes are halted because the focus, the energy, it goes towards the repair of the body. It's like if you have an aircraft and you're entering into a space of like war or something like that, right? If your aircraft is not properly functioning, you don't go into that. You don't go into that war space. You need to stay grounded, have that aircraft fixed so it can run properly when you enter into that theater of war. That's where my brain goes. I don't know where your guys' brain goes, but that's where my brain goes. Yeah, I'm not allowed to even mention any of that subject matter, Emma Jane. Any of it. Any mention of any of that topic, automatically YouTube will flag the video and take it down. It doesn't even matter if I'm just like, hey, did you guys hear about blah, blah, blah? And I'm not actually telling you things in a factual manner. No, they immediately take it down. Immediately. I cannot talk about that at all. So I'm just going to kind of pop this up on the screen really quick for people to see. Boop. Screenshot it. Hurry, hurry, hurry. Got to take it down. I got to take it down. I think even that might get this video flagged. I'm going to be really honest. I think even that might get this video taken down. So the secret's out. The patterns are being noticed by quite a few who are neurodivergent. Many of us are on the autism spectrum. Many of us. Many of us. They're trying to halt your ability to create. A lot of what's happening, and it does tie into oxidation. A lot of what's happening is about causing systemic inflammation and accelerated cellular oxidation to the degree that your ascension mechanics are greatly altered. It takes tremendous amounts of energy, effort, focus, and knowledge to detoxify the body to the degree that it can begin functioning in the way that it does. Y'all like to shop on TikTok? I mean, I do too. Don't get me wrong. Actually, I'm not allowed to shop on TikTok anymore. That's my own rule. Like, girl, no. But I did buy something today. Okay. Anyways, if you like to shop on TikTok, you know those wonderful deals that they have on underwear, workout clothes, sports bras? They typically are made of this material that contains a chemical. I think it's called viscose or something like that. It starts with a V. I had bought a whole bunch of underwear. There was something like 20 or 30 undies for like 12 bucks, 19 bucks. I was like, oh, hell yeah. So I bought them and I wore them. I particularly wore them while I was working out. And while I work out, I sweat. When you sweat, your pores kind of, they're more primed to absorb dermal absorption of whatever's on it. That includes the chemicals that are embedded in the fabric. It fucked up my hormones. Yeah, to the degree that I gained about 50 pounds with no change in my diet. And then my body felt like it was dying. Tons of my hair fell out. My face got super swollen. I began having lumps in my armpits and my breasts. Those are lymph nodes that are clogged up. The chemicals that are laced in those clothing, they're endocrine disruptors. Endocrine disruptors. Yeah, it fucked me up bad. Yep. They're gunning for all the MTHFR mutated folks. It actually threw me into menopause. I had to undo it again. Yeah. I'm getting pretty sick and tired of these motherfuckers making me sick left and right. Left and right. Because there's this really cute tank top. Oh my God. It's a racer back with like a v-neck. That type of cut is just so flattering on my figure. But I looked at the fucking bitch. That's what I said. I looked at what it was made of. I was like, fucking bitch. Gah! I can't wear that. It'll poison me again. The higher your frequency, the more readily you are able to be poisoned by specific things. And the fastest way to find out is what your hormones are doing. We are not imagining these things. They want you to believe that you're spinning a story, spinning in a circle, imagining things. You're going crazy. You're such a conspiracy theorist. Are you? Are you? Or are you just aware? Are you just at a point where you're realizing, like, hey, things are being done intentionally? Malignant things are being done intentionally. And I don't want to be a part of that. So don't be. Yep. Absolutely. This blissful. This right here, this is factual. I feel like when you're sick, all of your resources, mental, physical, and emotional, are dedicated to getting better. It feels like being insulated. Remember this second card that came through? Respecting your process, respecting your needs. The second card, incubation. You need to incubate yourself. You need to shield yourself from the attempts to increase your toxin load. When your toxin load goes beyond a certain degree, the organs are heavily affected. Toxins can be dosed dermally. Whatever is on your skin, that enters your body. It's a very people think like, it's not that serious. You know, one of my children was extremely sick. He stopped growing. As a baby, he stopped growing. He was nearly like 2.5 years old and he was wearing 6-month-old clothing. He entered into failure to thrive. And, you know, we were seeing a lot of doctors, a lot of specialists, constant ER visits. Yeah. They couldn't help. They couldn't help. His eczema was so bad. It was weeping eczema, and he looked like a burn victim from head to toe, like a burn victim. You could smell the bile being excreted from his skin. That's why I know so much about this subject matter. I had to learn in order to assist my child. We saw a very gifted naturopath, extremely gifted. She listened to what I had to say, and then she prescribed certain tinctures and creams. They were infused with full spectrum flora. And because she was so skilled, highly intelligent, she knew we had to bypass his gut. His gut was wrecked, even as a baby. He was exclusively breastfed. But here's the thing. Remember how I said I lived in the San Joaquin Valley? I lived surrounded by farms. It was a beautiful setting. But I had no idea they were doing aerial spraying. who were poisoned by glyphosate. So he was poisoned in my womb. At the time, I was vegan. And I ate pounds of fresh fruit daily, pounds in one sitting. Ooh, pluots were my favorite. Oh my God. Oh my God. It was so good. Mhm. So the naturopath said we had to bypass his digestive system because it was so damaged by inflammation. None of it would work. And we would run the risk of causing him to develop reactivity to the ingredients. So instead, she encouraged me to dermally dose. You know how powerful dermal dosing is? My child's entire body was so damaged, he would poop only once every 8 days, like clockwork. And the poop would come out looking like tar. No, he was not internally bleeding. It was such congestion of bile. And it would, like, once it gets on any surface, like his skin or whatever, I know TMI, but like you could not get that off with baby wipes. Like you had to wash him thoroughly in the sink once every 8 days. Within 30 minutes of me applying the tincture on his inner thighs, skin is thin there, he had a bowel movement. Massive. It was not his 8 days. He was not scheduled to have one. He had a massive bowel movement. I was like, holy moly, it's almost like his belly emptied out. And it did. I didn't know his belly was so swollen. 2.5 years old, he never even crawled. It's because his belly was so inflamed. I didn't know he was in tremendous pain his entire life. And about 10 minutes after that massive bowel movement, he had the very first normal looking stool of his entire life. And within a week of that, his skin cleared up completely. He was a happy baby. No more weeping eczema. No more looking like a burn victim. Skin looked like porcelain. Dermal dosing is powerful. Don't think that just because it got on your skin, you didn't ingest it. Dermal dosing is very powerful. Very, very powerful. They're dermally dosing poison. Yeah. They're dermally dosing poison. All of your toiletries, you're soaking in the bathtub, you're applying lotions, and those all have endocrine disruptors. Your fragrances, I can't even be around fragrances. Those have endocrine disruptors. I'm going to smell however I'm going to smell, baby. I'm going to smell however I'm going to smell. Luckily for me, I don't really have an issue with BL because I have like weird genetics. Yeah. Diving for light. They were going to be immersed in a circumstance where things feel very dense and very dark for the entirety of humanity. It's going to be a lot of conflict, a lot of already pre-planned type of events, right? Yeah, toothpaste as well. Toothpaste as well. I use Ayurvedic toothpaste straight from India or Nepal. I don't know where they make it. If you want to correct those type of things and you have eczema, you need to remove all of the inflammatory foods and chemicals that you're being exposed to or your child is being exposed to. And then you need to support the body in its detoxification. Eczema is evidence of toxin overload. Your skin is the largest excretory organ. It covers your whole body. So depending on which organ is overloaded, and you can find body maps online that will tell you. I forget the name of the teaching, But you can find body maps online. It maps out the whole body. You have eczema on your inner elbows, on the backs of your knees. I believe that's usually indicative of toxin overload for the liver. I'm not sure though. I'm not sure. It's been years since my kids have had these problems. Um, on the face, like right in here, I think it's the large intestine, um, kidneys, liver, like left one of your armpits is the liver, one of the other armpit is the kidneys. Depending on which one has a BO, that's the organ that's really struggling. All of this information is available online. You know, it's absolutely available online. What soap do you use? I use natural soap. It's I don't think there's a brand. I go to a natural food co-op, and it's just a soap that's made by some vendor, and it has all the old school natural ingredients in it. Yeah. So that's what we use, you know. In the world, not of the world. So for many of you who are going to be severely affected by the events that are coming that have already begun, you're in this world, but you're not of this world, meaning you're a high level neurodivergent, or you quite possibly are even in the category of quantum divergent. You have many, many different things that you are here to offer the world as a gift by virtue of your mere existence. That means you're high on the list of those who are going to be most negatively affected, intentionally negatively affecting you, you know? I used to make my own soaps and lotions. I just don't have time. I used to make whipped body butter. Oh my God, it's so luxurious. It's fucking ridiculous. It's so Oh my God, your skin will feel like baby skin. Oh my God. And any like skin eruptions, blemishes, things like that, it just all clears out. Yeah. Love it. I don't have time though. Going beyond normal. So, whatever's happening, the programs that are running right now, they want you to stay within the confines of what they say you can do, how far you can go. Even in spiritual communities, you will have people who will try and convince you you're not allowed to do this, you're not allowed to do that, you have to avoid this, and that person, quite possibly because they feel very threatened, because their information has been gathered from the internet. They're just trying to sound smart. They're trying to sound evolved and elevated. Babe, you never needed them. Actually, you don't even need me, to be honest. You don't even need me. You're going to come to the conclusions you need to come to, but you have to be willing to go through the life experiences that you need to go through in order to ask the questions that need to be asked, right? She feels, she knows. Y'all feel this. You guys know what's happening. You know what's happening. You know the process that you're in. You can feel the way your mind and the way you function, the way you live is being changed a little at a time, slowly pivoting 1 degree at a time. You don't need to become a different person, but you do need to stand in your power. You need to be rebellious with your energy. No, I will not allow you to access me. No, I will not allow you to force me to agree with you. No, what you're saying does not resonate with me. I will not receive it as absolute truth. That includes anything I say. That includes anything I say. You need to start really thinking for yourself. And then, of course, you'll have these um, mimics, you know, spiritual mimics, who will go ahead and copycat all of these things. They don't really know the root of what's being said, but it sounds good. It'll draw people in. You have to use discernment. You have to use discernment. You are the only one responsible for you. Bring it into form. So there's many things that are being brought into form. Your fears, your greatest hopes, all of these things are being brought into form. Which one will be brought into form? How much will be brought into form? It's all up to you. You're the one deciding. Shock of the new. For those who are trying so hard to stay in the confines of what this current matrix is trying to force you into, a lot of the ways things will change is going to shock you. That's okay. Work through the shock. Okay? Work through the shock. If you choose to go beyond the limited spaces you're currently existing in, nothing can stop you but you. These are things you have to decide for yourself, though. So, clarifier sigil. I think for those who are seeking clarification from other people, if you are facing someone who is not genuine in their attempt to appear authentic, you will not receive clarity. You will receive more confusion because they'll say something that in your mind it resonates because they're using the right terms, right? Your higher self is registering those terms. They probably are terms that are unfamiliar to you, but they resonate like, oh my God, I should know this. For some reason, this sounds so familiar. Mhm. But then something inside you is like, this doesn't feel right. So then it becomes something very just confusing. If you feel confused about anything, steer clear for a time until you figure out why you're confused. You don't have to know why you're confused and why you're averse for you to steer clear of that. For me, just the fact that I'm being given that type of feeling and I'm questioning, I'm going to have to back up and stay backed up for a little bit. Is that me saying bad or negative things about someone? I think the world has become overly confused with political correctness. Being honest with yourself is not you being mean. Being mean is having the intention of hurting someone else's feelings. Like you want to. And so you're putting the action into doing that. Speaking the truth, being objective, being intuitively guided, that's not being mean. Manipulative ass people will convince you that you're being mean. They need to be able to be given the opportunity to convince you this and that. No, fuck that shit. Listen to your soul. Listen to your soul. It doesn't matter who it's about. Listen to your soul. This is how you have rebellion using your energy. I'm in charge of what I allow into my field and what I allow of me out of my field. I control that. Part of the way I rebel is by deciding for myself and not have to explain every little decision. You know, I'm a person who's lived through so much trauma, but I'm not traumatized. I've experienced tremendous amounts of trauma through my life. At times it's felt unfair, but as I've grown in maturity, increased in my level of maturity, emotional intelligence, especially, I look back and I realize it's not about fair or unfair. It's about recognizing, it's about cultivating the skills to recognize, right? And so now I'm in a space of knowing, trying to over explain your decision that you know is right for you, but you're worried that you're going to hurt someone's feelings by doing what's healthy for you. So now you have to over explain everything and give the reasoning and apologize and apologize and apologize and further explain even more. That's a fucking trauma response. It's a trauma response. So now I've learned part of my rebellion means I don't have to explain shit. If I'm going to cut you off, there's a reasoning for that. Don't know what the reasoning is, but I'm going to just quietly disappear. Do you have to explain? For what? In the times, the not so distant past, couple years back, explaining to someone so that it could be a civil split, right? Amicable parting of ways. All it did was entice the person to create so much fucking drama for me. Because now they know the ways in which they were planning to use me. They can't do that anymore. So let's fucking punish her. Crazy, right? Crazy. I learned this lesson finally when I had a circumstance where I had an associate. This was someone that was supposed to be my friend. Um, I realized the circumstance was worsening because there was another person involved who was waging a full scale war against me um, because they wanted to be me. Let's be fucking real here. They wanted to be me and they wanted me out of the way. And when I moved out of the way silently, they got pissed off because my entire audience moved with me. It's like, bitch, you know, the only reason you have a platform is because I gave you one. Hey, that sounds like it's from ego, but that's the reality of what was happening. And so this other person, I realized the two of them are besties for real. And I'm kind of just like a business associate. So let me just back up because now I'm putting you in a weird circumstance between two females. And I told them that. And that I wish the best for them, but I'm going to take a step back because it doesn't feel right to do that to you. It was just out of concern. But they realized, I guess, that their income was heavily tied to my presence. That was a period where I allowed so many people to use me. Mhm. Had no problem with it. And because I explained this, um, and I still have the recording, that individual sent an audio recording encouraging me to unalive myself. Not exaggerating. Yeah. Encouraging me to unalive myself. Why? Well, what did I do? Did I attack you? All I said was, I need to take a step back because I'm realizing I'm putting you in a very, very difficult circumstance. And that's when I learned I should have just quietly backed away and disappeared. I should have just completely disassociated my business and my platform from all of that quietly. And I never really addressed any of it. I just let them do whatever the fuck they wanted, talk all the shit they wanted, accuse the shit out of me, all kind of different things. And I completely left the platform, went to YouTube like nothing ever happened, didn't address shit. And the audacity. Then they were mad that I was no longer on Facebook because, like, motherfuckers, you didn't want me on Facebook. I let you have the whole platform. Take the whole fucking platform. You want it so bad? Take the whole fucking platform. I'm not going to fight with you over a stupid ass platform. But all of a sudden they were mad because I throw away friends, because I change friends like I change my underwear. But I thought you hated me. I thought I was standing in the way of your abundance. Oh, that's right. I was your entire source of abundance. It was my abundance I was sharing. I've learned. I've learned so much over the years. I've learned through a lot of heartache, a lot of pain. But I chose that. I chose that. I didn't know there were other options, but I look back now and I realize I chose all of those circumstances. Why? Is it because I still have a disdain for myself? Self-abnegation is one hell of a motherfucker. No, it's because I'm honest with myself. I chose that. My soul warned me repeatedly, warned me. I ignored it. And because I ignored it, my soul sent people who could be honest with me. And what happened? I ignored them too. I remember one person, lovely, lovely woman. I still adore her. She reached out to me and she told me, Emmy, this girl's trying to be you. She's even copying everything about you, down to your lipstick, down to the faces that you make. She's trying to be you. I was like, no, she's so sweet. No, she wouldn't. Yes, the fuck she would. I learned that in the way I chose to learn it. That was before any drama. So you can choose. You can either choose to double down on whatever it is your soul's going to have you learn by having yourself experience the ugliness of it. Or you can choose to listen to your intuition filtered through your logic. Either way, you're going to need to become rebellious to the programs that are trying to force you to remain phase locked. You're going to have to. You're going to have to. And if you choose not to, that's a valid choice. But you will learn the hard way just like I did, right? All right. So rejuvenation. For those of us who choose to be, present, what happens? What happens? We get rejuvenated. Rather than wasting, depleting all of our energy, what happens? You take it in deeper. You become much more replenished. You become rejuvenated. The energy you deplete on lost causes, trying to hold on to connections that you've outgrown, trying to heal people who have no interest in healing, trying to be the support system for someone who continuously chooses to sabotage themselves. I mean, you got to know when things are a lost cause. As an empath, it hurts my heart when I realize someone I deeply care about is a lost cause. They don't want to heal. They don't want to get better. They don't want your help, but they'll definitely take your energy. These are not always bad people, but the effects are always bad on you. They're not always intentionally malignant. And you're not a victim. When you choose to allow this type of thing to continue, what happens? You choose to deplete yourself. That's what happens. That's why it's your choice, right? It is your choice. So when you choose that to deplete yourself, you will not reach higher levels of dimensional consciousness. You just won't. You will stay phase locked. You will stay stuck. And some people, they never really planned on a soul level. They never really planned to go higher, to reach higher levels of dimensional consciousness. So, it is what it is. It is what it is. If you do want to get to a higher level of consciousness, a deeper level of awareness, you need to allow the rejuvenation in order to become rejuvenated, because it's not someone that's going to rejuvenate you. It has to be you. It has to be you. If you stay in a space of depletion, your abundance will not come to fruition. Even if it comes to fruition, it's going to be depleted, just like your energy. You're going to spend it on others. You're going to continue to waste it on things that really, it was none of your business to be involved in that. It wasn't, so it is what it is. If you want that abundance, it doesn't make you selfish or greedy. To want stability, especially financial stability, what is so wrong with that? I used to have a big problem with that. I used to think that wanting financial stability, admitting that want and that need, somehow made me a greedy, selfish fucking person. No, That's the program that's running. Do you understand that when you don't have financial stability, when you don't allow yourself to have financial stability, you are operating heavily, heavily, heavily connected and controlled by this matrix. And when you exist in that way, you know what happens? You are in a constant state of stress, fight or flight. You're constantly worrying about how you're going to make ends meet, right? Which many of us have this concern. And what's so bad about that? Well, you know what I realized? So long as you're overburdened by the cost of your mere existence, you won't have the time or the luxury to begin cultivating the skills and the gifts that you're here to share with other people. It turns out those skills and those gifts, whether they're energetic or creating tangible goods or whatever it is, you're supposed to monetize that so that your gifts can give to you that financial stability that has eluded you your entire life. And when you enter into a space of financial stability, you then have more time to cultivate more gifts. That doesn't mean you have to have everything paid for by someone else. That means you're now in a position where your heart can tell you who you're supposed to help with no money exchanged. See, I have this thing where when my heart tells me to do it, there's no money that's exchanged. There's no talking about a payment plan. There's no talking about a reduced fee. There's absolutely like no money is exchanged. My heart has asked me to. That means if my heart has asked me to, you and I already had an agreement before we came into human form. And I'm simply completing the promise I made to you. That's it. Money doesn't have to be involved. You know, there's this person that I met recently, and I thoroughly enjoy her. For some reason, I really resonate with her. I met her in person. So she didn't know what I do for work because I don't tell anyone. I don't know. That's weird to me. That's just weird to me. Um, so yeah, I know her in person, and I was talking to her recently, and I was telling her like, you know, I could help you turn your health around if you want, and she wants to. She wants that help. And then we were talking, and I think she thought that that's what I do for work, like the whole offering services, paid services for nutritional coaching, personal training, that type of thing. And as I was talking to her again more recently, I was kind of explaining some of the actuality of the work that I do, um, in order to really jumpstart the rebalancing of hormones, I would need to etherically scrape the lining of her uterus. Um, and that would help to jumpstart a a return to health. And it was this thing where I had to tell her because it sounded like she was preparing to book sessions and stuff, not knowing what it is I do or even how to book sessions, where to do it. And I just looked at her and I said, I'm just going to help you. Like, you don't have to pay for anything. I will just help you. Because my heart tells me I have to help her. If she were to book sessions for that, the degree of health disruptions, that would be thousands of dollars. That would require about 6 months worth of etheric medi evals. That's like a $1,900 session every 2 weeks. Do the math. 6 times 2 is 12. 12 times 1,900. That's a lot. Am I over here worried about the cost? Like I'm missing out on That money, that's none of my concern. None of this has to do with money. All of this has to do with me recognizing my heart's telling me we have an agreement. I'm going to fulfill that agreement. I don't care about the money. I mean, that would really help. The money would really help. But no. When the heart tells you, that's a soul-based agreement. Money is never involved. So just know, if you are an empath, if you are a giver, you will still be that. You can never not be that. To ask you to no longer give, to no longer nurture, is to ask you to not be yourself. You will still give, you will still nurture, you will still help heal, but only those your heart tells you are people you promised to do that for before you ever entered into this life. Everything else, you must be compensated. For those of you who have your own platforms and provide your own services, and I've reached out to you for one thing or another, you notice I never expect you to do it for free. Because if it was something that your heart told you to do, you would have reached out to me and let me know. So no, I have to pay you. I have to properly compensate you, because the beliefs I hold for myself extend to everyone around me. If I expect to be compensated for work I'm providing, a service I'm providing, because my heart has not told me to do this for you, then I must also pay for your services. No hesitation. I might need a payment plan. It depends what it is. I might need a payment plan. I don't know if you do a payment plan, or I might need time to save. Who knows? But I will never ask you for something for free, because I believe wholeheartedly that the rules I'm aware of, they apply not just to me. I am not the exemption. I am the standard. The way I live my life is the standard we are trying to return back to. And if you allow yourself to consciously choose to return back to that standard, that is full-scale motherfucking rebellion that they can't do anything about. They can't do anything about that. Why? Because the only thing they know how to do in order to enforce control is fight. You're not fighting, though. You're just existing in a way they didn't give you permission to exist, but who gives a shit? The most powerful form of rebellion is the peaceful, quiet kind. They don't know how to fight that. They've been trying. And you know how they do it now? It doesn't work if you don't care. They'll go ahead and use the organic portals they've given platforms to shame you, guilt you, ostracize you. Hey, boo, I'm a fucking introvert. I don't give a shit if people don't like me. I stick to myself. I have a very small circle of friends. Thousands of people don't like me. Okay, don't fucking come around. Exercise control over your life. Don't come around me. Block me. It doesn't hurt my feelings. They think it'll hurt my no. It doesn't hurt my feelings. Is it because I don't care about them? No, it's because the reality is they're a stranger to me and they are not my concern. And the fact that they're choosing to use their sovereignty to decide what they are exposed to and not, that's beautiful. I genuinely feel that. That's beautiful. Now, people who are my friends, people I consider my friends, who I love deeply, if they were to suddenly block me, I would be sad. I would wonder why. What did I do? Can I have an opportunity to apologize and maybe find a way to make up for whatever I did that wasn't intentional. I will take accountability for it. But I understand if they don't want to. It's okay. I'll be sad, but it's okay. They have a right to live their life in whatever way they choose. That includes ensuring my absence. I respect that. I respect that. So when you allow yourself to enter into this rebellious state, it's not about creating destruction and havoc in your life. It's not about fighting with other people. It's about being so immersed in your power and your truth that you cannot be shifted from your space of centeredness, from your space of stillness. And in that stillness, you will find clarity across your entire life. You will be able to see your childhood traumas and what it was teaching you, the characteristics it was cultivating in you. You weren't just traumatized. That was part of your training. It doesn't make it okay when people do bad things to you, especially as a child. But when you begin to understand, it wasn't all for nothing. It wasn't just because nobody cared. It was a surefire way to cultivate in you what needed to be cultivated. The hurt of it, the disappointment of no one protecting you as a child, it becomes lessened less and less and less until you get to the point where it's like the logic I lived by at this point. You couldn't fucking break me as a kid. You're not doing it now. You're just not. Unfortunately, if my childhood couldn't break me, I am absolutely stepping into my power. Not only will it be extremely difficult, I will put up one hell of a motherfucking fight. I hope you can fight because I know I can. But if you just leave me alone, hey, peace is what lives on. That's it. I will fight for my peace, though. I will fight for my stillness. So just leave that alone. Don't touch that. Nothing has to happen. Say whatever you want, live however you want. Nothing has to happen. I don't have to respond unless I choose to. Usually I don't. That is rebellion, where people cannot dictate to you how you will feel. Do you guys know that there's someone on Facebook who has tried already several times to upset me with their comments? And what have I done? Just screenshot and ban. You don't get to dictate to me if I'll be upset or if I'll be inconvenienced just because you feel like I should be. No, fuck that. No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Arcturian, this is an indication it's time for you to step into full-blown self-healing. Your primary focus is to heal yourself, build up in reverse. There's a need to deconstruct. There is a need for us to get to a point where we are not afraid, of the process of deconstruction. If you see the deconstruction from a space of fear, it will feel like destruction. If you see it from a space of neutrality, then you can see it for what it actually is, deconstruction. The pieces that were not aligned and properly installed are being undone so that you can be rebuilt in a way that is aligned and fortified, very balanced. I like to make the analogy of an IKEA shelf. You put that in the wrong hole, your shit's going to be kiltered. Your shelf is going to sit like this. And you have to undo every step until the point where you get to where it first was misaligned. You have to deconstruct it. Or you can leave it like that, and your shelf, I guarantee you, will not function in the way you want it to. And eventually it will break because guess what? The weight was not meant to be carried misaligned. And that wear and tear will accelerate and accelerate and accelerate. That's why we have a tendency to get very, very sick, because we're misaligned within ourselves. And our higher self continues to put additional weight to increase our strength. But rather than increasing your strength, it's actually exacerbating the muscular imbalance, leading to injury. It leads to injury. That's how you feel injured within yourself. It's time for you to grow. You're gaining awareness of how your process currently is not being facilitated by you. You're learning how your process right now is actually creating more hardship and inconvenience than is necessary. Rebel against that as well. This extends beyond just your human existence. And this is not something that you can just hope the best for. You have to take actual action. You have to make decisions. You have to choose your options, the path you're going to consciously walk down, and then you need to put action behind it. Okay? You can't just hope for the best. You have to fully own the circumstance and potentialities that you are creating or co-creating or sustaining. Okay, mirrored souls. So for many of you, you're going to find yourself in a space of being triggered, because your higher self will bring to you people whose circumstance mirrors whatever it is about yourself that you don't want to address. So, for example, you get very triggered because someone in your life um, is very emotional in their responses. They're constantly like very defensive. If you ask anything, even if it's just for clarity, they get very, very defensive. They pick an argument and, all of that kind of hoopla. Is that how you are? Like you don't want to hear nothing from no one. It immediately triggers you if someone points out some type of deficiency in you, insufficiency, some type of misalignment, lack of capability. Immediately, like, what are you trying to say? Well, that's why that person's being brought to you. That's someone who's mirroring an aspect of your journey that you're not willing to see. So if you don't like how that person acts, you have to ask yourself, do you act that way? Or did you used to act that way? And with everything that's happening in your life, you're starting to revert back to that same coping mechanism. I found everyone that stands before me that's able to elicit a negative feeling from me, they represent something that I don't want to address. Either something I'm currently needing to address or something that I've already addressed, don't want to look back at, but I'm at risk of reverting back to that. So my soul brings a mirrored soul to be able to remind me, hey, hey, ho, ho, you got to work on this. And I'm like, okay, gotcha. I'll take a look at that. I'll take a look at that within myself. So then it doesn't become about the person anymore. It becomes about how this person is being utilized to help me see things that are difficult for me to see. Communication. So these mirrored souls that will be brought to you, you don't necessarily need to communicate all of this to them. It's an internal process. You just need to acknowledge within yourself that this is the process you're in. Always hold your integrity, especially when dealing with cosmic connections. For some of you, you will be presented with people, circumstance that seems like it's a cosmic connection, something sacred, something divine, divine union, twins, this and that. Oh my God. Uh, I get so tired of the subject. But, anyways, you'll be presented with that. There's a very high potentiality because of the elevations in parasitic attempts. All right. The elevations in parasitic attempts could potentially mean that for many of you, most unfortunately, you're going to face someone who is a mimic, a parasitic Trojan. That means they're either being used to get you to think that they are the person you've been waiting for your whole life, when in actuality, they're not. They're not. Or they're getting breached by something that's wanted to access you but can't access you directly. And since they have access to you, now they're bringing the demon shit to you. I called it demon shit. Ooh, my bad. My bad. My bad. Oh. I totally forgot. Hey, I'm going to be going live later today, 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Here's the link for the TikTok tea party. Click on the QR code or the link in the comment, and that will show you exactly where you need to go. 5:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I gotta pin this. I think it's pinned. I don't know. Let me pin this on YouTube. Okay. Last cards. Ooh, girl, we run out of time. You still gotta eat. You gotta feed those muscles. I'm finally regaining my legs. I'm so happy. I forced it. Like, no, you must come back. I've been forcing all the protein. I've reverted back to tears as I eat. What? It's true. And I've been forcing tremendous amounts of micro tearing. Perception. It just depends on how you perceive things, how you'll experience everything. The flavor that's left in your mouth is based on your perception. And your perception is dictated by the filters you use. If you're filtering something from a space of drama and trauma, you're going to have a bad taste in your mouth. If you're filtering that perception using a filter of just neutral observation, then it becomes something that just, it's an experience. And as you're present in the experience, there'll be aspects that are enjoyable and aspects that maybe you're like, didn't really like that too much, but yeah, whatever. Experience almost done, right? You need to begin recalibrating what filters you're using. Return back to neutrality. Not everything that happens to you is to punish you. As a matter of fact, pretty much everything that happens to you has nothing to do with punishment. This concept of karma is not punishment. Did you know? I'm going to tell you guys a spiritual truth right now. Did you know that if you're one of the people who's been done wrong by someone else and you subscribe to the mindset of karma's going to get them, did you know you're just as bad as them at that point, but like cowardly? And you're going to be like, what? Yeah, you're wishing harm on someone. You're wishing harm to happen to someone, but you don't have the courage to be the one to deliver the harm. You're no different than the person that harmed you. Think on it. And that's a very common thought in spiritual circles. The whole like karma's going to get them. Okay. Okay. If you say so. Karma's not punishment. Karma is miasma. Miasma is frozen light code. Frozen light code is a lesson that's just been paused. Either you didn't reach the level of maturity, you refused to learn, you refused to participate, or your higher self is just like, we're going to prioritize a different lesson right now, so we're going to have to pause that. Has nothing to do with punishment. Like I said, spiritual circles will say, karma's going to get them. That's part of the program that creates distortion in your code. And that distortion leads to accelerated molecular compaction and further phase locking. What I'm saying is it ages you, and that it ensures that you're not going to transcend that circumstance. You're not going to rise above it and continue to grow. You will never hear me say karma will get him. I will say, what a fucking bitch. But anyways, I'm going to live my life. I'm not going to let you back in, but you're a fucking bitch, yo. What the fuck's your problem? Yeah. Do you want bad things to happen to you? Of course not. What the fuck? I'm not you. right? People who've done me wrong, do I want bad things to happen to them? No, I'm not you. You're a bitch. I mean, I can be a bitch, but I'm not a bitch. I can act like a bitch, but I'm not a bitch. Yeah. And then I just move on with my life because you don't get any of my energy. My juju is sweet as fuck, yo. My juju is just, as my adult son likes to say, titillating. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I think he was watching some show with alternative vernacular, Victorian vernacular. And he was highly fixated on the word titillating. And you tell him you're making dinner and it's his favorite type food. He says, "Oh, that's titillating." Cracks me up. But no, I'm not just going to give my energy to just anybody. I know my value at this point, at least part of it. I don't know the whole thing. I'm going to be honest. I don't know my true, full, like totality of my value or my purpose. I don't know that I need to know it right now. I don't know that I need to. I can still live my purpose without knowing that. And honestly, maybe I don't know that because maybe I don't have the level of maturity yet to be able to receive that type of profound awareness and truth without me entering into a space of ego. It's hard for me to enter into a space of ego because my ego functions backwards. But who knows? Maybe the lack of knowing is what's protecting you from being corrupted. So just live, exist, allow your existence to have a weight to it, to have a gravity to it. You don't have to know everything before you can simply exist in the way you were designed to exist with a gravity, purpose, and value that is innate to you just because you exist, right? Space. Some people just need to give you your space. That's what I'm feeling. I'm serious. Some people just need to give you your space. I think for some of you, especially for those who just need their space from a specific person, that person is a fucking Trojan. I'm not even joking. Now it makes sense. There's this person who I just can't bring myself to like respond to any of their shit because I feel like it's all loaded shit. I just do. It's not for a lack of love. It's just I recognize to some degree like this is bullshit and I don't want to participate in it. I have shit I have to do. And now I'm realizing whenever there's some teetering within myself because I'm going through something, maybe I've just gotten sick or I'm having a stressful day because my schedule is like really compacted and I'm rushing here and there. And I'm maybe struggling to remain focused. I notice because those are rare, right? Those instances are rare where I'm like struggling. That's when that person reaches out, tries to call, tries to FaceTime, tries to text. And I'm like, hmm, hmm. And it's at that point, I don't even open any of that. And I go ahead and I text my people, girl, you will never fucking believe. And then you'll just see a whole bunch of ear emojis like, tell me, I'm listening. Tell me because I'm listening what has happened, right? Um, perspective. For many of us, we're being brought to the reality that our perspective is solely focused on the human existence. That's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. But I think your perspective and your focus is about to be shifted so that you can enter into a totality where you are thinking not just about the human experience portion, but also the celestial, energetic, etheric, soul level part of your existence. And oh, excuse me. Hmm. And makes a lot of sense. So I'm getting a transmission from soul that's letting me know whatever's happening right now, the malignant ones, they want you existing in a bubble of Delulu, focused strictly on the earth events that they're trying to push forward. There's going to be multiple events. I've said over and over and over about cascade events, cascade events. One event leads to another event, which is another event and another event and another event and another event. I'm telling you right now, if there are highly destructive events, events that involve fire, explosion, large loss of people, those who commit those atrocities were trained by the very people who's going to try and pass new legislation to further erode your civil liberties, your constitutionally protected rights as a human being. There will be multiple. When? Probably this year. Oh, there was a journalist, a fairly large name journalist. I don't know what show he was on, but he's quoted as saying something like, as soon as the new president comes into office, there is shock and awe planned or something like that. I don't remember. And I was like, I bet there is. I bet there is. I bet there's a lot of shock and awe that's planned. They're not just aiming for specialized people. This is to create trauma and chaos within the entire collective. You're going to give them the power to dictate to you your mood, your thoughts? I mean, it's normal when we see something that's tragic to have that knee jerk reaction of compassion, anger, righteous wrath for those who are so negatively affected by that circumstance. Allow yourself to feel that momentarily. You are human. That is a human emotion when you see other humans being affected, unless you're like a psychopath or a sociopath. I think it's sociopaths that don't have emotions. They're completely like dissociated from their emotions. I don't know. But you have to be like mentally deranged to not feel something when you see other people um, go through those types of extreme circumstance. Don't fall for it. Allow yourself to feel that, but don't fall for the invitation to enter into a space of retaliation, a space of hate filled reaction. Remember, they never actually tell us the truth of what's happening and why. Not even on TikTok. Maybe a couple of years ago, TikTok was the place to get all that information. Now they have Trojans all across the platform. They have those who will continue to spread the narrative that was created to oppose the official narrative. Okay? Do not give them the reaction they are expecting. Instead, allow yourself to privately feel what you are feeling in response to what you are witnessing. Give yourself a moment, at the very least, a few minutes, an hour, whatever. Don't engage in the conversation that will take place afterwards, because that's meant to really amplify the negative emotions, the fear, the anger, the hatred, all of that. That feeds the reptilians. That feeds them. They harvest that energy. They harvest it through ley lines. Ley lines are pollution lines, energetic pollution lines. Instead of feeding that machine, focus on the potential of humanity. Protect the children. Focus on the potential. Connect with your Christic consciousness. Allow yourself to see the circumstance for what it is, a potentiality for us to unify in our diversity across all nations. Mhm. Yeah. Across all nations, right? So, what needs to happen now? Now, you need to allow yourself to get to a point where you can sit quietly with yourself, having received all of this information that for many people is going to be jarring, and to just sit and see how it feels to you. Does it resonate as truth? Or is it something that you don't really want to hear? You don't want to listen to? Whatever you choose, it's valid for you. It's valid for you. Just know though, the things that you need to hear but refuse to hear, which could be something I said or it could be something someone else said, we don't know. The things that you refuse to hear but need to hear, um, that lack of awareness that your soul is already giving you, your soul's giving you an opportunity to be aware. And your lack of awareness is a surefire way to compound and complicate your issue. I use my life as an example. Those two individuals I was publicly associated with, they were essentially my coworkers. Um, I could have avoided all of that. I had the option to. Because one, I was already being told, was trying to be an Emmy clone. Which, like, why would you want to do that? Like, fucking, I'm chaotic. I'm messy. Why the fuck would you want to be my clone? You not see how people react to me? I fucking trigger people left and right. I don't even know why. And then the other one, I mean, I should have already known because the reason they were aware of me to begin with was because they were trying to destroy my business. Their clients had come to them hoping they would attack me. I know this for a fact because they let me know too. Yeah. The reason they didn't attack me because I allowed them. I allowed them to access my field. Yeah, I did. And the person, their client, who was plotting this with them before they ever even interacted with me, um, that was someone who came to me and was like, Emmy, um, me and so are going to go ahead and work on your field and like heal you from the things that you've experienced and yada, yada, yada. And I said, okay. And then they tried to access my field. See, that person didn't know. I had hidden so much. I hid most of my abilities. They knew I had abilities. They didn't have any idea of the actuality of my abilities. Yeah. They were trying to keep me distracted while the other person tried to enter my field, and I gave him permission to. And I knew what he was trying to do, and I let him, except he couldn't do it. Nothing he did affected me. He later admitted their plan was to attack me. And then he tried to feign some type of innocence by saying something along the lines of, that was before I understood how pure you are, that you're genuinely a good person. And when I accessed your field, I saw this, and so I couldn't do it. No, you fucking tried. And you realize you're weak. And it scared you because I didn't retaliate or stop you. I had no fear of you. And that's when that person decided to woo me to become a business associate. I learned everything I needed to learn. Very valuable lessons. My soul used the shadiest, most two-faced motherfucking piece of shit people to help me learn things that I refuse to learn on my own terms in the most gentle, most compassion to self type way. But I learned the lessons real well. I did. It grew me so much. Those people did not grow me. I chose to grow. I chose it. I chose to heal. I chose to grow. I chose to continue showing up and not allow myself to become a different version of myself just because horrendous people were used by soul as tools. Nothing more. Part of your rebellion is recognizing when your soul is trying to cultivate aspects of yourself. Allow it. Grow from it. Grow from it. They can't actually destroy you unless you choose to allow it. Hey, you know how many people have tried? You know how many of them failed? Every single last one. Because whenever I enter into a space of rebellion against the very things that want to destroy me, want to silence me, I get the inspiration to wild the fuck out by being more of myself. Ain't that some shit? Ain't that some shit? Go through your process. Retrieve your power. Only you can do it. It's hidden deep in your spaces of shadow. You don't have to deal with demonic things. When I say shadow, that's a positioning within your field. I'm not talking about malignant darkness. Shadow is not intrinsically evil. It's not. I'll be live in a little bit, 5:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. If you'd like me to work on you, scan you, do a reading, whatever it is, click on that QR code or the link in the comment, and I'll see you 5:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Bye.